It's a journey we all take in the most formative time of our lives. It's a journey that binds us to friends and gives us a new adventure every day. It's a journey that clears our minds, strengthens our bodies, and expands our lungs and our horizons. It's the journey to and from our schools that teaches us about the process of life and not just the destination. That process, that journey, is threatened for our children. What type of experience will we make of it, for them and for their children? Will it be hard or easy, dangerous or safe, boring or fun, stifling or exhilarating, or even possible? How can we make a difference? That's what Safe Routes to Schools is all about. Empowering policymakers and everyone concerned to promote and encourage a culture and lifestyle changes with the goal of providing a safe walking and bicycling environment for students, for our children. But long before the bike wheels turn, the wheels of industry have to turn for the planning and engineering of school siting and supporting infrastructure. If the school is too far out or the access is unsafe, that morning walk or bike ride will become an expensive bus ride, and that breath of fresh air will be replaced with exhaust emissions. Together we can create transportation choices and safety solutions for the journey. Through a connected network of sidewalks, pathways, and crossings, complete streets, and thoughtful school siting, we can make the journey safe through engineering. We can encourage the joy and adventure and health benefits of the journey through activities and promotions and education. We can protect the safe passage of the journey through driver awareness and law enforcement. And we can continue to evaluate the journey and how it can be improved, better served, and better protected. The journey is for our children, and it's up to us all to make it a safe, productive, and cost-effective journey.
And I got a call that one of the children had been hit on a bicycle. He was not being safe. He was riding in the middle of the road, and a car came down the other side and hit him. It was very much touch and go for a while. And I said, this will never happen to another child at Westside Elementary, because we are going to make being safe a priority at our school, just as we do our academics and our involvement.
We've seen fatalities over the summer, accidents, car accidents, people running through the red lights. We've seen children fall out into the street and almost be severely hit by cars. What other things? We've seen a lot. It's scary.
Children that are hit by a vehicle going higher speeds, such as 40 miles per hour, have less chance of survival than those hit by vehicles going 20 miles per hour.
For every bus that they have to add, consider that a teacher not in the classroom, because that's roughly a bus. One cost of a bus is roughly what it would cost to fund a teaching position.
So now you can understand is that about 2.7 times back and forth to Alaska is what we travel on a daily basis, burning about 1 million gallons of diesel fuel in one given year.
That's an expensive endeavor when we have to now transport kids to fill that school or those empty seats.
School travel accounts for at least 30% of our morning rush hour traffic, and so it has a big impact on our communities and our regional traffic patterns.
But there's been studies in and around school where air quality is actually just diminishing because of the amount of time that cars are spent idling, waiting to pick up kids.
We all know we have an obesity epidemic in our country, and we really need to get our children out exercising more and using their legs more and using their bodies more.
Children who walk and bike to school improve their performance in school because they have that physical activity.
Safe Routes to School is a framework for approaching a bicycle and pedestrian program on schools, and safety is their #1 goal, to be able to encourage children to bike and walk to school, but in a safe way.
Keeping our children safe as they come to and from school, pulling together all the resources that we can possibly contact, or whether it's supervisory, working with parents, educating our students, providing them with crosswalks, crossing guards. Again, all stops being pulled out to help our children come and go from school safely.
Looking at and really ensuring that we build safe, walkable, bike rideable routes for our children to get to and from school, and encouraging that's a great way for a child to get to school, but a great way for their health, a great way for their development, a great way for their relationship building. And I think we all pine and yearn for the old-fashioned days when we all walked to school or rode our bikes to school.
An ideal situation, in my opinion, is one where there is high enough density that you can reach your ideal student population within a 2-mile radius. 2-mile radius is important because once you are outside a 2-mile walk zone, statute then requires school districts to provide student transportation.
Within the 2-mile radius, which is not reimbursed from the state, we have set up different programs, and we're working through the MPO and through the county and the cities to work on making safer routes to the schools.
School districts should be involved at the very, very beginning of a development proposal and be part of the team that is reviewing the proposal, and then work together with the local jurisdiction on what an appropriate location would be for what type school is determined to be necessary. What I think is very important is, again, going back to what types of roadways are going to be located within the development, what's on the boundaries of the development, how large an area is the school district going to need to look at in order to determine where they will bring students from to that particular school. If students are going to need to cross a major street in order to get to the school, then certainly you want to start looking at the sidewalk network, how it's provided, and you want to be looking at crossings and ensuring that they won't be mid-block crossings, but crossings at intersections with appropriate pedestrian features.
I would say when a new school has been sited and we're ready to, the school district has come through our school siting compliance review and we've worked with them, it would be at that time that the Public Works and Joe Dell's team would identify some of the off-site deficiencies that the school board obviously isn't going to be building off-site infrastructure and would be coming to the county to request assistance in building this because they know that it will save them transportation costs and that they don't have the funding to do the off-site. So they would approach the school board or they would approach Osceola County typically through our technical working group before it even comes in as a site plan review.
The planning side kind of requires them to work with Public Works to finalize the needs and who's going to pay for what and when it needs to be done.
That our city was laid out on a grid and mostly laid out before automobiles became nearly as prominent as they are now. So going back to a mobility system that's less dependent on automobiles is a relatively easy transition for us. In the case of kids walking to school, the streets are already there, the sidewalks are already there for the most part. So basically, if somebody lives 1.5 miles away, they can walk to school right now.
I guess one of the problems in our current structure politically is the schools don't pay all the transportation costs for getting kids to and from schools. It's infrastructure, roadways, that's not the school board's responsibility. That's the local communities, the cities, the counties. They're responsible for the roadway infrastructure in and around the schools. And so the siting is very important for the local community because while the land values might be cheap to purchase, the maintenance and future transportation costs to the community are going to be higher in the future.
Another thing that drives us to these longer and longer parent pickup lines is our schools are becoming larger and larger. When I first started doing school planning 20 years ago, a large school in Florida was a 600 size elementary school. And now most districts are up to about 1,000 size elementary school. Once again, as school funding becomes smaller and smaller, those schools become larger and larger.
The main problem is this road was designed for speed, and so any treatment that happens here has to start down the road because you've got cars flying up here 55 miles per hour in wide lanes, flat shoulders. It's designed for speed, and so they get up here and all of a sudden there's crosswalk.
When you have hundreds of homes on one side of the thoroughfare and the elementary school on the other side of the thoroughfare, you need to design the intersection and the street between them as a complete street.
Complete streets is when you plan a roadway, you plan for all users. In other words, you include bike lanes, you include sidewalks and side paths. You're not just engineering and planning and laying down asphalt for cars to drive on. You're thinking about pedestrians and you're thinking about bicyclists as you do your planning.
Well, I think safe routes to school is just a piece of the puzzle, if you will, of how you put together a more livable, more desirable community, a place where people want to live, want to work, and want to visit.
When you ask for a simple solution to so many major problems, from childhood obesity to parent engagement to renewable energy, pick safe routes to school. You won't be disappointed.